Well, joining me now from Adelaide is Labor Senator for South Australia and Opposition Special Minister of State spokesman, if you like, Don Farrell. Don Farrell, thanks for joining us. Let's talk about the South Australian election first. I'm sure you'd like to. Peter Malinauskas used to work at Woolworths, became a union official there, and you became his great mentor. Can you tell us a bit about that story and how you feel about him becoming Premier today?
Yes, thank you, Andrew. I feel overwhelmed and proud that Peter is now the Premier for South Australia. He's a terrific bloke. He's a young man with an old head. He's very mature for his age. I was with him on Thursday night out at the Village Tavern in one of the marginal seats in the northeast of Adelaide, and one of the interesting things was that when we walked in, he got mobbed by a group of young women. No surprises there, I suppose. They all wanted to have a photograph with him. But then while we were having dinner and Anthony Albanese was with us, they started live streaming to their mums, so that the mums could see that Peter was there. And but then the unusual thing was that all the tradies in the sports bar saw that Peter was there, and they all came out to have their photo with Peter. So he has an appeal right across the board, and I think that augurs well for his premiership in South Australia. He's vibrant, he's young, he's charismatic. In fact, listening to his acceptance speech last night, you could think of John Kennedy 60 years ago. So he's going to be a terrific premier for South Australia. He's the sort of fellow, I've worked with him closely over 15, 20 years. As you say, he started out as a trolley boy at Woolworths in Mitcham, one of the outer suburbs here, and he just developed. You could see from the start that he had a huge amount of talent, and he just got better and better. And one of the good things about him is that if he says he's going to do something, he does it. So one of the issues in South Australia, of course, during the course of the election was ambulance ramping. He said he's going to fix it, and I believe he will. He'll just spend the resources.
Wanted to ask you about that night in Mitcham. Were they as keen for photos with Anthony Albanese?
They were. Anthony.
Okay.
No. They were. He was in all of the photos. So I think if you could track down those ladies and gentlemen, you'd find that Anthony was in all those photos too. And
all right.
And of course, unlike Scott Morrison, of course, Anthony did turn up for the last period of the campaign. And
why do you think South Australians turfed out the Marshall government?
Oh, look, I think there's a very simple answer to that, Andrew. The Marshall government, and in particular, Stephen Marshall, contracted out the running of the state for about 18 months. He basically stepped aside and handed over control of the state to the chief medical officer and the police commissioner. Unlike what happened in other states where the premiers were in control of whatever was happening, Stephen Marshall left it to others. And then I think it became an issue for him, and his colleagues were saying, well, look, you're going to have to take back control. We're, months out from an election. So he took control just at the time that the Omicron variant of COVID was going wild in South Australia. And look, we weren't prepared for it. We didn't have enough rat tests. We didn't have enough booster vaccines. The hospitals couldn't cope with the numbers of people. And of course, we'd gone from almost no deaths in the previous 18 months to hundreds of deaths and thousands of cases. As you can tell from my voice, I'm still trying to get over my COVID.
Yes, I hear you had a bad case, actually.
Yeah, no, terrible. It's a terrible disease, let me tell you, Andrew. Don't catch it, please.
I already have. But Don Farrell, sorry,
well, there you go.
I just wanted to ask you now about the Kimberley Kitching scandal.
Yep.
Do you believe some bullying occurred?
Look, I was a close personal friend of Kimberley's, and in fact, her office was just over the corridor from mine. I'm going to the funeral tomorrow with my wife, but more importantly, I'm going over this afternoon to Melbourne for the Rosary this evening at St Patrick's Church. I want to honour Kimberley's memory. It's what's going on at the moment is terrible for her husband Andrew, who I spoke to on the night of Kimberley's death, and I'm sure for her mother and father, who I know are flying down from Brisbane to attend the funeral tomorrow. I don't want to add to their grief during this period. We'll get through the funeral tomorrow, and we'll move on from there.
Do you think, though, I won't press this too hard, but do you think she was set to lose her pre-selection, or that was an unfounded fear on her part?
Look, I don't think there was any prospect at all of her losing her pre-selection. To be perfectly honest, she was supposed to call me the day she died to talk about that, and I certainly was of the view that she would be re-endorsed. There was no other candidate, I don't believe, in Victoria to replace her. And she was just such a good and hard-working senator. I don't believe there was any prospect that she wouldn't be re-endorsed. And she was supposed to call. She didn't call, and I got off a plane from Sydney, and there was a message there to ring her husband, and he gave me the terrible news.
You used to be in the Senate leadership team. I guess Christina Keneally replaced you controversially. Do you think the Senate leadership team needs to do a bit of work on how they handle people management issues in the wake of this?
Look, we've got Kimberley's funeral tomorrow. I want to honour her memory. I don't want to add to any of the discussion or the speculation about all of those issues. There's plenty of other people that can do that. To be honest with you, Andrew, I'm just focused. It's going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough day tomorrow with Kimberley's funeral. The family have asked me to read out a statement at the funeral. Let's honour her memory for the moment. Let's get through tomorrow's events, and all of these other things can be dealt with after that.
And when you say dealt with, just very briefly, do you think there needs to be some sort of review or investigation initiated by the leader?
Look. All of those things can be discussed at a later time if people want to have a discussion about them. My focus at the moment is honouring Kimberley's memory. She was a dear friend of mine, and I'm simply focused on the events of tomorrow.
Don Farrell, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.